Hello, everyone. Welcome. My name is Pastor Roland. Today, I want to talk about salvation. There is such a thing as salvation, you know. It's a real thing. Now, what is it? The reason I think about this topic is because this afternoon I heard on the radio someone asked a person on the radio who answers a lot of Bible questions, said, "What is salvation?" He gave his answer. But I have to say that what salvation is is when God's light penetrates our darkness. See, most of us live in darkness our whole life. We go around and we do things, and we say things, and we write things, but something is missing. And what is missing is it's almost like a part of our true self is missing. You sometimes hear beautiful stories of a father and a child who were separated, maybe when the child was little, and then the child searches for the father when the child gets older, when becomes an adult child. So you have someone who's 18 or 20 or 25 or 30, and she's looking for a father, and she searches and searches. Sometimes the father is far away in another country, possibly, and she searches and searches, and she won't be satisfied until she finds her father. And once in a while it has a happy conclusion where you hear about her finding her father after not having seen him for 20 or 30 years. Oh, it's so beautiful. It makes you want to cry, or it makes you cry. It's so sweet. Well, it's something like that. See, she felt like there was something missing. See, and she wouldn't be satisfied with anything else. Well, that's kind of the way it is for souls that are destined to one day find the Father. It's just destined for salvation. Salvation is a big thing. It it's when you it's when God penetrates your gloom and gives you light, gives you a little bit of light. And then you begin to see things as they really are. And you see your sorry state for what it is. Okay? But this time you don't resent it. See, what happens in our life is that we get glimpses. We see our own phoniness, our own shallowness. We see our own duplicity and dishonesty and sneakiness. We see it sometimes. We see those things. But we don't want to see it. So we resent seeing it. See, we resent seeing it. But the day comes when something in you, a part of you, somehow, it's like a salmon going back upstream again. Part of you wants to find what's missing. And of course, what's missing is the Father that you've never known. Okay? I've written extensively on this topic. Okay? What's missing is the Father you've never known. Now, in your gloom and in your so what happens is that when we're lacking that, then we compensate. So we get involved in all manner of worldly things, and it's normal. I mean, it's fitting and proper because we're first of the earth and later of the spirit. So it's proper that little children must run through the meadow and enjoy Christmas presents and love to eat ice cream and pizza and have a puppy and all that kind of stuff, or a cat. And they love their brothers and sisters. Then they love their friends and they love sports and all that. It's all perfectly natural and perfectly normal. It's all part of life. The little child grows up to full stature. But then when you reach full stature, then you begin to sense something else is needed. You want to know the purpose for your existence, why you're here. Life has meaning. You know it has meaning. People say, oh, it doesn't have meaning. But you, in your heart, you know. Even if you say it, you don't really believe it because you know that it has meaning. But you haven't found it. So you search and try different things. You know, you get married. I mean, you try dating and you sports and video games and hobbies and all these things. They're all fine. But something is still missing. Now, some people just, they just continue with the earthy, worldly things. And so they become their body. See, at first it's natural that we grow up loving our worldly things. It's perfectly natural. So we love our video games and our friends and going out and partying and we love our food and we love all these things. It's fine. But then as you get older, then it becomes more. It becomes unseeming, unseemly. If you have someone that's 40 or 50 or 60 who's still, trying to find a second childhood. You hear about men that they get to be 40 and they divorce their wife and they get a sports car. And they try to find life in dating and things like that. See, but it doesn't work. So, as when we reach adulthood, then we begin to search for something more, something beyond. Okay, something beyond. Now we read about things when you go to church or you read spiritual books. See, then you read about this beyond. But the beyond is beyond words. See, the words just point to it, but they're not it. Which you see that that's true. So, I lost my train of thought here temporarily. Oh yes. So, what is salvation? So salvation is seeing your own fallen nature. See? Which when you become an adult, then first you were a cute little ego. See, we're cute little egos, but then we grow up to be naughty egos. With a kernel of pride. That's what you inherit. It's not your fault that you inherit that. You just did. You're not responsible for your own nature. But that's what you inherit, and you can't change it. Okay, it's called original sin. But then, if you're not careful, you grow from being a cute little ego to being a naughty ego to being a nasty ego. Someone who's 40 or 50 or 60, and see if you're 15 or 20 years old and you pout a little bit and you're unhappy when the boy doesn't call you or the girl doesn't call you and you don't make the free throw and so you're bummed out over that. Well, that's okay. Yeah, it's kind of normal. But if you get to be an old person and you're pouting and unhappy, then what? Then you become bitter and resentful. See, it's not cute anymore. It's not cute anymore. So we deteriorate is what happens. Unless you find salvation from the deterioration and salvation from the compensations. It's okay to compensate when you're young, but then when you get older, it's time to find that beyond instead of trying to compensate for it, instead of trying to find a substitute for it. So salvation is and then the other thing is that, okay, so the other thing you need to be saved from is lies. See, there's a lot of lies. It's wall-to-wall deceit and lies and confusion. And people make a very good living off of other people's confusion. See, people make a very good living when others are misguided and make mistakes and mess up. Then those who make a living off of it, then they rush in to try to solve problems. Okay, and clean up your mess that you made, but they never do a very good job. See? So you need to be saved from the lies, and then you need to be saved from your own fallen nature. So now perhaps you can see that to be saved from lies, you need truth. But what kind of truth do you need? Just another set of words? No, because then you're just pitting one set of words against another set of words, one opinion against another. What you need is the truth, a light of truth, the light. Truth is like a light. It shines on things so you can see. So you can see that 1 plus 1 equals 2. Okay, you see that. You also memorized it, but you also see it. And if someone says 1 plus 1 equals 3, you just know that's not right because you see that 1 plus 1 equals 2. Okay? So that's what seeing is. You realize it wordlessly. It's a realization. Okay? So in the same way, you need to see what is true. Or you need maybe not so much to see what is true, but in the light to see what is not true. To see what is false. To see what doesn't sit right with you. Which a lot of the things that you've heard, they don't sit right with you anyway. They never did. See, you sort of knew there was something wrong with what you were hearing, but you weren't sure. So you doubted. Well, that not being sure, that seeing something wrong with what is wrong or what is not true, that's good. You're seeing it in the light of truth. So when you begin to have light, when God's light, see, when you stop resenting God's light, see, at first you resented God's light because it felt like conscience. It showed you in a bad light, and so you rejected it, and you didn't like it. But at a certain point, when you yearn for the truth, so salvation includes a yearning. Remember, like the person who wanted to find her father and searched for him, she yearned to know her father. She deeply yearned for her father. Well, when you yearn for the truth, then the truth will begin to dawn. The light begins to shine. Then you see things as they are, and you see yourself as you are. But you don't mind seeing it now, even though it's a little painful to see the mess that you've made of things and to see how rotten you are. But you don't mind because you're seeing it in the light of truth. And you know the light is there, and you somehow you sense deep down in your heart, you sense that this light is from God and is showing you the truth for your own good. Okay, it's like if you have a teacher. Let's say you had a really good teacher. I had a really good English teacher in the 8th grade. I mean, she was strict, okay, but she had my best interests at heart. It's called tough love. So she wouldn't just say I did well if I didn't. She would mark all the things wrong with it and say, I expect better out of you. See? So when the light shines upon you and you see your own wrong, now you know that light is from God, and He's showing you, okay, so that you can get better. Okay? So that's a lot of what salvation is. But it's more than that. It's more than that. Salvation then will then also include being saved from the corruption that came in. See all the lies that came in, and all the people and the things and the substances and the places and things that you got involved with in your flight from truth. See, you got involved with some people and some things and substances and activities, and the corruption got in. See, even culture itself. See, when civilization falls, when man is not ruled by God, when civilization falls, it becomes culture, and then culture itself is corrupting. See, there's all kinds of rituals, and see, so there's a lot of corruption that got in. So you have to be saved from that. So you're saved from all of those things, and you're saved from the lies, and you become a natural person, just a regular natural person, no longer corrupt. It's very nice. And then you live out your life for quite a while, and as a once again a noble human being. You begin to discover in God's light. You begin to act wisely, and you begin to have courage. You begin to a lot of good things, okay? But then you also need to be, at some point, then your body needs to be upgraded. You need to be translated. You need to be prepared for the beyond. Okay? There's a lot in it for you to discover. I can't tell you everything. I don't know it all myself. But even if I did, I wouldn't tell you. It's better if you discover it. It's better if you discover who Jesus is. Understand what he did. It's better if you see it for yourself. Okay? So, what I have that's helpful is I can talk about these things, but I also have the meditation, which helps you to it helps your soul to stand back from the thoughts and the emotions, to stand back and be a little closer to the light. See, because now you can see that you need God's light. You need his light of truth. And also his warmth and his love will come through that light. That's what you need. So you need to get close to it like a plant. See, if a plant is in the closet, if a plant is in a dark corner of the room and there's no sunlight, the plant is not happy. So you take the plant out of the closet or out of the corner of the room and you put it somewhere where it can receive the warm sunlight. And then the plant is happy. Okay, so you've been kind of hiding in the dark corner of the room, which is your thinking. That's where you've been hiding from God's light, down in your thinking. Of course, people told you to go to look to your thinking for answers. But then, as you went out in the world and made mistakes, then you began to hide in your thinking and in your imagination and in images and thoughts. And see, so now you need to come out of there into God's light. And then when your soul receives God's light, then more and more, the more light you get, the more you can receive. The more you receive, your soul revives in the light. Your soul revives in the light. Okay? And now you're finding the Father that you've never known. Okay? Now one final word. A lot of you had an earthly father. I just want to mention this very quickly. I've written about this extensively, especially in my books on relationships, like my book, The Myths and Mysteries of Marriage, or my book, Putting the Forever Back in Love, or my book on parenting. See? Or actually in all my books. What has happened is that your earthly father failed you. Maybe he was a decent guy, decent, did the best he could, but there was still something missing. Your mom resented him because she needed something from him he didn't have. And then you resented him because he was missing something. He wasn't there for you somehow. Okay? And even if your father was a very, very decent father, okay, and you resented your father, then that's not good. So what is one thing that stands between you and finding your heavenly Father is your resentment toward your earthly father. Okay? So I'm just mentioning this quickly here. Okay, you can read my books or watch some of my other videos, but you must forgive your earthly father. That means forgive him. He didn't know what he was doing. Okay? Christ's last words were, "Forgive them, Father. They know not what they do." See, the world was too much for your dad. He did the best he could, but the world was too much for him. Your mom was too much for him. See? And so he never found that magic. He never found the Father within. See? He never found the Father within. Okay? But now you're somehow hearing me, and maybe, see, you can turn your life around by beginning to continue your searching, and perhaps with the help of the meditation to get closer to the light, and then eventually closer to your Heavenly Father. But you must forgive your earthly father. That's very important. And forgiving means to let go of the resentment, let go of the judgment, let go of the grudge, okay, for whatever he did or for whatever he failed to do. My name is Pastor Roland.